Hello, welcome to Soulprint Insights. So first of all, I'm really pleased and happy with the um, viewings and the comments that the last Insights video had, because as you know, this is sort of a new series of channelings that I'm doing, trying to provide information, insight, and direction, guidance, for light workers during this transformational time on the planet. So thank you so much for supporting this endeavor. It's greatly appreciated. So today I wanted to ask Masudius about trying to understand the different roads and journeys that people are on. You know, sometimes we get sort of caught up in the, well, why are they doing that? Or why can't they see the obvious truth? Or why are they making those kinds of choices? And I thought this would be a really good time to ask Masudius for some more information on that. You know, considering we are moving into a period of time where it's going to be more inclusive. And you can't really do inclusive if on some basic level you can't even understand where this person is coming from. So that's kind of the question of the day. I hope you enjoy the answer. I know I'm looking forward to it. Here we go. Okay, Masudius, could you please give us some direction, guidance, and insight in terms of people who are walking their path and have chosen life experiences that perhaps on the surface appear to be confusing or not really understandable? Greetings to the Soulprint family. Again, we thank you for the opportunity to share what wisdom we have with you as you travel along your journey in this lifetime. So you ask a very interesting question. Indeed, in reality, nobody knows the path any other person walks, because most people do not know their soul path, nor should they. It is important to understand that every soul incarnates for the experience. Sometimes it is easy to pass off or attribute someone's life experiences simply to karma, or to bad choices, or good choices and good karma. First, remember that the definition of karma is an action, is a reaction to an action. That's what karma is. Karma, good or bad, is determined by the intentions of the heart. So, when someone experiences karma, they have set that up as an opportunity to choose a higher or better response. That does not mean that in the reality of their day-to-day existence, they will make the decision that they had intended to make or had hoped to make when they set up that series of events to afford them the opportunity to make a different choice than they had previously made. Souls return to physical form because they want the experience. So, for example, someone may have been a person afflicted with an addiction in a lifetime, and that caused a lot of upset and turmoil and unpleasantness for those around them. It then is not inconceivable that a soul would choose to come back as a family member, a spouse, a child, a brother, a sister, a parent of someone who is in turn in this life experiencing a difficult addiction, so that the soul then has the experience of both sides of that coin called addiction. Now, that is not to mean that every single soul who lived through a upbringing or their current situation of addiction is on that path. It is merely an example of an intention that may not make sense as you objectively look at it in physical form on Earth. And there are as many variations of that decision as there are humans on the planet. It is very, very rare that a soul returns to physical form bringing with them neither karma nor intention. Because then what would be the purpose of a specific life experience, which of course, as you well know, you create as part of your soul print? There are souls that are young and for whatever reasons feel that they may want to live in an environment that is perhaps more restrictive in an attempt perhaps to understand some of the parameters and boundaries of the physical human experience. So perhaps they choose to be born into a home with very strict rules and traditions. Perhaps they choose to be born into a country of authoritarian leadership. Perhaps they have some need to feel valued and wanted, and they have chosen this life to have that experience by becoming involved in a cult or perhaps a organization where freedom of thought is not necessarily the priority. It is almost impossible to understand the reasons that people choose to have the life experiences that they do, which is why it is often said that if you are sending prayers or good intentions to someone, the prayer is that which is in their highest good be done. Because it is not for anyone to determine what the highest good for that soul is. For example, somebody may be ill and they are struggling with that illness. And so everyone gathers around and they pray for recovery, which is a noble and generous thing to do. However, it does not take into consideration the fact that there may very well be souls who are choosing that experience and who are using that experience as a part of their exit plan. We cannot know. And on a conscious level, nor does the soul know. So Is that person's ultimate passing a tragedy? Is it a blessing? Or is it simply that their highest will was done? These are questions that one would like to think about as they sit in judgment or even simply confusion about another's choices. You must remember that the human life experience is like a blink in time in comparison to the never-ending, ever-expanding journey of the soul. A lifetime, be it 20 years, 50 years, or 100 years, is still but a blink. And so souls will choose all manner of experiences. Now, perhaps the person who comes back with an addiction, after they have fallen into the addiction, may choose to try to find sobriety. And so they begin that journey. They may falter, they may fail. And whether or not at that point they choose to continue that journey, leave their physical body and their existence, or revert back to that which they know and is comfortable, I suppose, that ultimately is always their choice. And there are many of you out there saying, well, there are people dying and it was not their choice. It was as the result of 1, 2, 3 or ABC. And again, we understand those feelings and we understand those processes. But you must ask yourself, if somewhere along the road, souls chose on some level to be sacrificed in order to bring awareness, education, research to a specific cause or situation. When you completely and fully understand that the soul is indestructible and the physical body and the physical experience truly is an actor playing one of many, many roles, you can start to understand where a soul would choose, in some cases, that which is almost inconceivable, because they understand and know that the soul is gaining the experience, and that beyond that, no harm will come. And in fact, be assured that for those who suffer really painful or horrific endings, in almost every instance, the soul leaves the body and hovers above it until that physical life has ended. So the soul in and of itself does not absorb the violence. And to a large degree, neither does the physical body, because the consciousness, if you will, has lifted with the soul. And the experience is one of like a haze, something happening at a distance. So very often what you see from the outside is much more horrible than the experience the actual physical body and soul are having. There are some souls who are destined for great power. Is that an opportunity for them then to make their highest choices? Or does it become an opportunity for them to make choices that are not only in their highest good, but in the highest good of many others? And indeed, you can find examples of both sides of that coin on your planet at any given time. And is there resistance? Of course there is. And of course there will be and must be, because the experiences of every soul, is to gain a wisdom or an understanding that they did not come equipped with, that they did not have, or the intention to choose a better response to any given situation. But again, because free will is the ultimate gift and the ultimate power of any soul, what they may choose in a soul print may not be what ends up manifesting if through the course of their life they have separated themselves too far from not only their own divinity, but from source, the source of all energy and all being, which for clarity's sake, understand is a collection, it is a compilation, it is a grouping of souls that create source, that empowers source, that is that energy that you see often as a single entity or being. Into each life, there are difficulties and there are joys. Each soul enters into their physical experience with the tools and skill sets they need or require to achieve those intentions that are set out in their soul print. But because there are an infinite number of lifetimes, because there is an infinite number of experiences and opportunities, it simply is not viewed as a failure should they choose a slightly different path. Let us use an elementary example. If you were to apply a numeric number to a source's physical experience, let's give that number 10. In the grand scheme of all that is life, does it matter if the soul got to 10 by adding 1 to 9 or 2 to 8 or 3 to 7, 4 to 6? You get the point. They still end up with the completion. They still end up at the goal. And someone may choose literally to have 10 separate lives, 1 to 9, 2 to 8, etc., 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 to achieve mastery of a certain situation or wisdom. And indeed, there are those who willingly and blatantly end up burning up and using up all of those 10 experiences and still not gaining the wisdom they were hoping for. And as we have said before, the intention behind the action is what creates the karmic reaction. So for some who apparently stumble through life, in some ways there is a very minor karmic reaction because the intention of the soul is not to harm or hurt. Likewise, there are those who, in bigger and bigger degrees, manage to destroy or blow up the opportunity that a lifetime gave them. And that in and of itself creates a soul that is in crisis and karmic balancing that can truly take eons. So you must understand every soul's journey is absolutely unique to each and every soul. Every soul's desire and experiences are unique to them. And never forget that all of this is happening in a tangled environment where survival is paramount. You need shelter, you need food, you need water, you need air to breathe. You are surrounded in your life by other people and their emotions and their energies and their soul prints intermingle and mix with yours. It's not a straight and easy path. And truly, why would you want it to be? So remember the prayer. For their highest good, let that be done. Not for any other's perception of what that should look like. We thank you ever so much for this opportunity, and we enjoy being asked and being able to provide the insights and guidance that we do. We are but a small group of learned souls. And again, each walks their path and each has their journey. And you can get this exact explanation from 100 different sources using 100 different words. But we feel humbled and blessed that it is to this voice you are hearing these words. We remain, at this time, Masudius. Okay? Until next time, stand in your power, stand in your light. Bye-bye.